This is a test. This station is conducting a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test.
Sometimes popular, but mostly quick because he's James McMahon Music Podcast. James McMahon Music Podcast.
This concludes this test of the emergency broadcast system.
You're someone I probably thought I would maybe never speak to again because you just vanished. But
off the face of the earth.
Well, tell me about that time. I mean, I guess the better way to frame it would be. Why is now the right time for a new Zutons record?
Well, I don't. To be honest, it's a good question. I think it's a good time for us because we've been playing gigs for a few years on and off, and we've really wanted to do some new music, and we've been writing continuously. But in terms of like the world waiting for a Zutons record, but for us personally, I think it's a good time because, you know, it's been a while and we've still got fans and we've got a load of music that needs to be out there. They want to hear it and we want to give it to them. So it's simple, really.
I mean, I think it's a road to madness if you start thinking, does the world need a new Zutons record? That's a weird thing for an artist, I think, to think.
Yeah.
I think it.
Do I need a new Zutons record? Yeah, I probably do because it helps. I really enjoy playing with the band. So yeah, I need one probably more than anyone else does, to be honest.
Well, why did you? I mean, I guess
it's all about me. It's all me being selfish.
Well, I guess
it's part of my therapy. Do you know what I mean?
Well, tell me about that. I guess that begs the question: why did you need it?
Why did I need it? I didn't. Well, sorry. I didn't need it. There's nothing else in life, and I've tried other bands. I've tried drinking it away. I've tried snorting it away. I've tried dying, on drugs. I've tried drug addiction, and that takes a lot of your time up. But I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. So I think now that I've came away from that, and I've been a good boy for 3 years. You start thinking about what your life is and what your life was before it spiraled, and it was the Zutons. So I tried the solo album and stuff like that, but my head wasn't in the right place. And although the record's really good, live, it was kind of hard. And, it was a lot of backing track stuff going on, and that's not really me. Do you know what I mean? So it was always like, yeah, I don't need it. I just want it. And when I'm playing on stage with the other members of the band and we're looking at each other, it's like being a kid again. It feels like the first album. Do you know what I mean? It feels like enjoyable. I'm straight, I'm present. Everyone's on the best that they can be. So that's the difference, I think, now and what it probably was 16 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
I think the thing I find interesting about the Zutons is that even though it has been some time since a Zutons record, in some ways it's like there's real currency to the name, and it doesn't really feel like you went away because when you hear one of your songs on the radio every like 10 minutes. The Amy Winehouse version of Valerie. It's in lots of ways I feel like that plugged the hole that was the absence of the Zutons. But I was quite surprised. I'm not surprised because life's hard work, but I was upset to hear that you'd had a difficult time because part of me just thought you were just enjoying spending your royalties of that were rolling in from that Amy
Well, I
Winehouse
was.
version. Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't I?
Oh,
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I was enjoying spending money a lot, and I was enjoying getting high. And there's nothing wrong with getting high and getting drunk, but if you're doing it in the morning, and that, I mean, to be honest, what changed it for me was it wasn't the music. The music's just a really good focus and bonus, but it's not. I mean, my life. I was going to be a father, so I had to knock it on the head. I had to change my lifestyle because you don't want to be a shit dad, do you? You don't want to be like one of them fellas who's part time, goes to pub, gives give your girls some money, go to pub, give your girls. You know what I mean? You want to be present. You want to be in someone's life because if they grow up to be a little twat, you don't want that hanging over you either, do you?
yeah,
You want to say you were there and
yeah.
you were a good person, basically.
When did you
Am I
feel?
going off subject here?
No, no. Let's go anywhere you want to go. When did you feel like it? When did you feel like it stopped being fun and it needed to be something to be addressed?
Um, when I was waking up in the middle of the night, shaking and sweating, going downstairs on the sly, drinking 2 bottles of beer really fast, taking codeine, going back to bed, sitting there and going, I don't actually feel worse. I don't feel any better. It's, the booze just, it stopped working. It wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And then the natural thing from that is you start drinking stronger booze. So then by doing that, it was kind of like, you get this feeling of anxiety and it just engulfs you. And every drunk and every addict has the same feeling. You get this moral shame, moral guilt of what your life's been and where your life's going. And you wake up, you have that moment of clarity, and then you just decide you want to stop or you have to stop. But with me, I had to stop for a load of reasons. Because my dad was dying as well, so I wanted to be there for him. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to be going to say hello to him, then going to the pub, then coming back and going, all right, are you dead yet? Do you know what I mean? It was like, I wanted to be around. I wanted to be present.
When did your
But I
dad die?
think when 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, yeah. My dad was 2 years ago. It's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard work, but he was very sick up until that point. So part of it just goes, do you know what? Fucking hell. This is the right thing to happen because he's not really alive. He's just kind of sitting there, spaced out in pain. So you're like, okay, it's time to go. And I think he hung on for ages and he met my son. So I'm really glad that happened. They got to spend some time together. But he told me, I remember him saying to me, he felt like a bag of shite. But, I don't really, is this going to make your podcast? Because it's kind of like,
No,
you know what
no. I talk about my dead dad on the podcast all the time. It's no,
okay,
all the time. I
I
think
know, no, it's real. It's a real thing.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
did.
I don't think it's. Go on.
No. Sorry, I think there's a slight lag between the two of us. I did an episode with your man from Deacon Blue a couple of days after my dad died, and I mean the poor guy. I mean, I like Deacon Blue. I really loved him when I was a kid, and he was there essentially to talk about his autobiography, and I just ended up talking to him about my dad dying for about
Sorry to laugh.
for about a quarter of an hour. No, it's fine. It's fine. He was very nice about it.
You got a laugh, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's did you when you were I don't know, I've never had addiction issues, but I have a great deal of sympathy for people who do, because I do think that it is really misunderstood, and I think that so many people are really dismissive of it as, well, just don't do it, and you're like, well, no, it doesn't work like that, because it's all about how you're feeling. It's all about the way the brain works and such like. But did you have people around you who were saying, Dave, you're an amazing songwriter, you need to get your shit together?
Yeah, for years, for probably since the band split up 16 years ago, people were saying that to me, you know what I mean? But I think, oh, my head's gone fucking blank here, sorry. Yeah, people were saying that to me years ago, but I think, like, the problem I had is I don't have an everyday job. I've made money from touring and selling records and, you know, royalties, whatever, in the past. So I had the license to get up and go and do that. A lot of people probably would have, the world would probably be a lot worse if people didn't have to get up and go to work every day to jobs that they hate. If they would just if everyone won the lottery, because let's face it, that's kind of like, you've won it. It's you know, it's not like as much as the lottery, but you've definitely won some kind of thing. But you haven't won it. You've worked for it for like a decade. So you've got this lump sum, and then you just, next thing, there's nothing going on. So what you do, you're going to go down a pub, you spend time with people because you're lonely. But then that creates this other thing of, you know, but my point is, a lot of people would probably have addiction issues if they didn't have to get up for work. But good for them that they do have to get up and go to work, or they have got kids, or they have got to focus like a child or children, because that is basically the thing that booted me up the arse. There could have been there could have been offers for fucking all kinds on the table, but I never would have stopped unless that happened. And, you know, it's a gift from God, really. Sorry, I say that a lot. It's a gift that, because I thought my body must be like gone for fucking for sperm counts, for everything. It's like I've drank every day for about 15 years. I've took every kind of drug most days. It's like, no way does my sperm count work. And then all of a sudden, it fucking did. So it's like, oh shit, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm grateful, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
I mean,
But
sorry, no, carry on.
But without that, you know, they say when you stop drinking, good things happen. And I can only say that's true. And because I'm really lucky. Do you know what I mean? I'm lucky to have been so selfish for so long, but I'm also lucky that I've got the Zutons, because I've got to focus. I've got, you know, it's not easy. So I had to be there. I had to get up on the Zuton level, really, of performing, writing, being in the room, being around, you know, being like, I had to change. I had to become myself again. And I didn't want to be myself. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but I didn't want to be that person for a long time. So it's kind of like, I feel really, really honoured that I'm in this position. And the band have been great. Abby, Sean, especially, have been really patient with me and really, you know, loving and caring about it, and being harsh and being horrible when they have to be. And when horrible is, you know, they've been strict when they've had to be as well. So I'm lucky, really, to have that in my life.
Hey, listen, I did an episode with Bill Ryder Jones the other day, and we were talking about this stuff. You know, like I say, I've never had any problems with addiction, and hopefully never will. But I've had loads of issues with mental illness in my life, and I feel like one thing that's kind of been lost from the mental illness discourse is that so much of it is about routine, which you kind of alluded to, and purpose, and, you know, in terms of recovery, and loads of it is about being told some uncomfortable truths sometimes. You know, there's so much like woolly discourse about mental health, and actually a lot of it is you need to be told. Sometimes you need to be told when you're not thinking right, or when you need to think about things in a different way or behave in a different way. So I think that, I mean, we're both men from the north. I think that's sort of innate to us in lots of ways. You know, it's kind of the way that I think men from the north are raised. But you sort of said that. You know, I want to move on to the music in a minute because I think the new
No,
record,
it's okay, but let's take our time because this is obviously something good to talk about. So
well,
it's not. It's not.
yeah,
I think.
I
Go
just
on.
don't, I just don't want to sort of, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird phrase. I'm always conscious, really, of sort of mining people's trauma in a sense, you know, because that's a little bit what journalists do. You know, like they're like, tell me, show me the sadness. But I just think one of the things I'm always interested in when I speak to people who have sort of found solace in booze or in drugs is you just said something about not wanting for a long time you didn't want to be who you were. And I wonder if you'd ever kind of identified why that was. Because from the outside looking in, you know, I was there when the Zutons turned up. I came to see you at Northumbria University. I think I had a quick conversation with you at the end of the night. I worked for the Enemy for a long time. You were a cool band. You were obviously a very talented songwriter that all of your peers respected greatly. What was it? What was it that you were kind of running from?
It was just loneliness. I think one minute you've got all your times took up. You're doing the Zutons. You're playing every night. You're doing what you want to do. Then you kind of all fall out with each other. You kind of go, well, you get sick of it. You don't want to be in the same room as each other. And then it's gone. And you just sat in this house on your own like this.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking, and then on top of that, like, there's, you've got like, well, why is it gone? And it's like, well, there's a few reasons going on here why it's split or why. And then, as you get older, you kind of think, well, you just had enough of each other, and that's all right. That's okay. That happens. People split up with the partners for the same reason. But I think what I was running from was just, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do with my life now? Every day when I wake up and I sit there, because all I know what to do is play guitar and do this, but I can't do that because I associate that with the Zutons. I associate that with this. Before you know it, 16 years has gone by. Oh, well, you say 16 now, so let's say 13 years has gone by. Your drug addiction has gone through the roof. You've still got money coming in the bank, so you're still spending, you're still drinking every day. So, I mean, I'd probably be close to death, really, if I'd have carried on drinking in the morning every day and then snorting in the evening and, whatever it is. Because I used to do this thing where I used to do that with not eat and not sleep for 3 or 4 days. Then I'd sleep and eat constantly for 2 or 3 days, then wake up and go back and do that again. So that was like, your body is not going to like that, is it? Do you know what I mean? So now, like, I think, it's, I don't know what addiction is. Addiction is just, it's escapism and all that, and it's all right at first, but when it becomes a real addiction, you're not happy. And even drinking doesn't make you happy. Even doing them drugs doesn't make you happy. So you just have to face it. You have to turn around and face yourself. And I think lockdown for me was like a gift because, I wrote a lot of the songs with the band. I went to rehab before lockdown started. So I already knew I was, when you go to rehab and you come out of rehab and you go back to it, that's when it's the worst, because that's when, like, you shouldn't be doing it. You're doing a fucking dickhead, and you're not trying hard enough, and you're not being a man. You're not facing it, and it is, And when you talk about mental stuff, like, I remember when I was a kid, I got expelled from the juniors, and I couldn't sit still, and I'm kind of the same now. People call it ADHD or whatever, autism. It's all, I don't know what it is, but everyone's kind of got it up to a certain degree. Everyone's got a level of it, whether it goes, and it can spike in a moment and then it can come. You just don't know. So what I'm doing at the moment is facing that, trying to get help but not get medication, and face that, and I'm doing well. But sometimes when you're feeling the lows, you know, it's good to play your guitar and it's good to express it. And I find that is being creative and talking about it openly with your guitar, because I've got this gift, like most songwriters or most singers. You don't have to talk directly. You can just put it, you can say it however you want to say it in a more beautiful way. So I think that is like not to be ever underestimated. And still to this day now, if I write a song, like I finished the song yesterday, I get this incredible tingly buzz around me, and I go out, and if it's sunny, I'll go out and I'll walk and I'll just be like, and then I come back and I'll work on it more. So that for me, you're replacing that natural thing, but that natural thing is still there. But I think as you get older and stuff, your kind of brain goes, oh, I'm too old for that now. And it's like, well, no, you're not. You're never too old, you know. You might be too old to be putting skin tight. If you're in Iron Maiden and you want to wear all that gear, then sound, but I'm not, you know what I mean? So it's fun.
I mean, I think when I watched the video to Creeping, I was like, which is a tune, by the way.
Oh, nice one.
When I watched the video, I was like, looking good. Like,
Oh,
you're kind of looking. I mean, it's all subjective, obviously, but you look. I think
you can be nice.
I think you look more well now than you did like in the day.
Yeah. No, thanks very much. I know I do, but I don't like to talk about it because it seems like you don't. You know, I'm British. No one likes a fucking ooh, look at me. No, they love losers. We all love a loser. Everyone wants to put their arm around a loser. No one wants to put their arm around winners. You know, maybe that's got something to do with the mental fucking health thing going on. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But it's kind of like I go to, you know, I'll go to the gym. I eat well. I'm getting married in May, so I'm really trying the last month or two. I'm while we're doing the video, you know, and I'm on stage, so you don't want to be breathing in. On stage, you kind of want to be able to breathe your belly out a bit, and it still looks all right. You just have to lean over a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Elvis, and you have to think like Elvis about it, really. You know what I mean, rather than thinking against it.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is I quite like Fat Elvis, but I don't think it was good for him. No, I don't know. I just think sometimes, you know, you're obviously a much younger man then, but I definitely felt like when I saw that video, I was like, oh wow, like someone's been working out. You've got this sort of handsome lion vibe going on now, you know. It's good. So what?
I was always the cowardly lion. Now I'm the handsome lion. Thanks very much. I'll take that.
I like that. When were these?
Nice one.
Well, okay. Let me say. This is one thing I was thinking. Did the success of that cover version, did it ever feel like a bit of an albatross? Because I guess there is a degree of, you know, I don't want you to disclose your bank statements, obviously, but there would be a constant stream of money coming in. And did that in a way mean that you kind of had the ability to do what you wanted to do, but there was also not the need
I've
to
just said that.
Oh, well, I see.
Yeah, the hunger was gone.
Yeah.
The hunger was gone. But let's talk about that song. Let's talk about that song, and let's not talk so much about money, because I have just explained that. I'm not saying, I just don't want to answer the same thing twice, because you've already got it. If you go back, I've explained it. So I don't mean that horrible, but I can answer your question in a more interesting way, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so when we had the success with that song first round, you know, that was the bar, if you like. So we had a massive hit with it. It was A-listed on Radio 1. People ringing you up going, great song. Wow. Within 3 weeks, fucking hate this song. I wish they'd take it off the radio. And that's a nice way of saying, and that's a great thing, because that means the radio have got you on that Beyonce fucking list where you're going, do you know what I mean? So that's good. So then I kind of, started falling out with, I didn't just say falling out, but I kind of losing my energy for the band, really. It was like, I started getting into drinking and taking drugs a lot. So wasn't writing my best stuff. That's my point. I wasn't for that, and that's the reason why, I think. And we got successful, and I got comfortable with it. But by doing that, I forgot what it was that you enjoyed in the first place, which is writing songs and being a creative person. So that thing was like, as we made our third album, which personally I hate. I don't hate it, but we don't play nothing off it live. And it's not on purpose. It's not we're not going to ever play this. It's kind of just one of them things, it's like we may play one song in future, but we're never going to go and revisit the album because I wasn't writing the best stuff I've wrote. And the band knew that. And, it kind of creates this thing of like, what are we doing here then? And we went to America. We took 3 months making it. There's 3 months. I don't mind spending the studio 3 months, but every day in the studio, it's kind of like that. Anyway, we didn't make a great record. So then when Amy Winehouse takes this song on, she has an even bigger hit with it. So that's kind of, that's over the top of you. So like, you're like, well, where's the next one of them? Where's the next Valerie at the time? And then it can only seems like, and so she's flying with it. And it's okay, good for her and good for us. And I'm dead happy with it. And then, I don't know, it was kind of in the back of my mind. It's like, we should have had another, we should have another 10 of them, but they never turned up. I don't really know does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So
totally.
within that, it all imploded pretty quick. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't say it's because of that song. I'd say it was because of in relationships within the band. And, you can turn down and say, well, that's because of that or that's because of that. But I wouldn't want to do that because everyone's allowed to get sick of each other and everyone's allowed to have a break from each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it was never intended to get back together, but it was never intended to go for 16 years. So that's kind of what happened there. But then what happened with that is Amy died. So the song now is just like, fucking, it's like, it's this other thing now.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
you go past the pub and you hear women singing it. When you're a kid and you're listening to Nirvana, that's because I wanted to be in Nirvana or the Beatles. You never think you're going to write an Auntie's karaoke hit. So It's funny for me because I'm like, wow, this song is completely fucking gone somewhere off the rails now. But I love it. I love it more now than ever. And I am so happy to, like, whatever it is, the upper, higher power entity, whatever it is, whatever that stream is, that flowing when you're writing a song, whatever that like ether thing is, I caught onto it, and the Zutons caught onto it, and we went with it, and I'm glad that happened. I'm so glad because it's a great song. Do you know what I mean? So I can't, like, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not moaning about any of this. I'm just explaining the whole thing to you.
Totally.
But it was never like you start. There was times when you felt like a one-hit wonder, and it's like, but now I'm like, but you know what? At least we've got a hit. Do you know what I mean? Like, most fucking bands don't, in the history of time and man, most bands don't even have a fucking hit. So you should be lucky. You should feel honoured. You know what I mean?
I really want to. I'm supposed to be interviewing Cheel Hawks at some point, and I've been doing a bit of reading on Cheel Hawks, and it's really interesting. Like, there's obviously he is a one-hit wonder, and he's kind of embraced that at this point. But for years, he was like, he just didn't want to kind of leave the house because he didn't want to hear that song, because it was like used on every sync on the telly. And I think it is interesting I don't know, almost that moment that a song becomes bigger than you ever.
I used to call Mark Ronson Cheel Hawks because I didn't. And when I'd seen him on the telly, Mark Ronson, before I met him or worked with him, I seen him as Mark Ronson, and then when I met him in real life, I thought he really looks like fucking Cheel Hawks. And then I said, I called him Chesney Hawks, and he went, oh, right. And just looked at me, and I was like, you know who Chesney Hawks is? And he was like, yeah, kind of. That was something that I thought was going to be dead funny. It just we just didn't find it that
Oh
funny.
yeah.
And we moved on pretty quick.
No,
But sorry, just while you're on.
he was on the cover the week that I left the NME, and I remember being a really kind of, I was very disillusioned with what I was doing at that point, and also probably what I perceived to be the wrong direction of the magazine. And I remember being really sniffy and very indie, like, oh, why is Mark Ronson on the cover? And then I interviewed him a couple of years ago, and I thought he was a lovely bloke, and I felt really bad for being so judgmental. We all grow up,
Yeah.
we all mature.
No, yeah, exactly. Do you know what? I acted like such a when we were in New York, and I was drunk and on fucking Adderall, whatever the fuck we were taking. He wasn't taking any of it. He was just drinking. I was a fucking pain in the ass, but he stuck with me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he got the bike song out of me, and he was really like, he was really nice. And when I look back, he could have turned around and went, you know what, fuck you, you're going home on the next plane, do you know what I mean? But he stuck with me. And then one guy I fell out with, who was in the Dap Kings, he was a trumpet player. He was being a bit of a, he got drunk and he said something, and I kind of had a go at him. But the next day, Mark was like, yeah, he's like that. He's done that to me. And he was so nice. He really is nice. I spoke to him like last year on the phone and I actually apologized to him. I said, I'm sorry for acting like so, because he calls me a fucking Viking. He said I was just like some Viking in New York, but which is a nice way of putting it. But really, what he was saying is he was just being a big loud fucking wanker, and I had to keep putting fires out around him all the fucking time. Like,
yeah, I'll be honest. I think handsome lion is nicer than Viking, but they both work. Hey, listen, I'm gonna talk because we're sort of over. We've gone longer than we said we were gonna, but just I want to kind of talk a little bit about the record before I fuck off. But I really, I'm really trying to swear less on the podcast as well because my mum keeps telling me off. So apologies for that, Mum.
That's all right.
I need to make it clear though that I wasn't prying in any way about money before. I certainly wouldn't do that on a podcast or even in person. It was just more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was more that thing of like. Well, you explained it, and when you were like, "I've just said that," I was like, "Well, yeah," but I was kind of trying to almost sort of summarize.
Basically, yeah, the money you have money coming in, and obviously you get royalties, but there was money as well from the Zutons. We don't just live like on that, but it's kind of you live as a band. You have to keep. It's not like forever, is it? But my point was at the time that was a problem. If I had no money, I would have went and worked and got a normal job like a lot of people do in bands.
Yeah, totally.
But because there was money there, that fueled all that. So just to clear that up, I just didn't want to start talking about pay package.
Of course not. I just sometimes wonder about, say, someone like, say, Kate Bush. I don't think she has this problem because she seems to be someone who really, just does things on her schedule. But I sometimes wonder about Kate Bush, who, makes a record every 10 years or whatever. And I just wonder how she sort of fills the days when there is that constant, successful artist, people always buy her records. It's like, well, what's the motivation to kind of make that art? And she's obviously found it in the sense of, okay, I'm ready now. I've got something to say, but it's just interesting. But let's talk about the new record, and then we'll put a bow on this. So, when were these songs written? Was it a case of, okay, we're going to make a new Zutons record. The relationships in the band are good. I'm in a good headspace. I'm going to write some songs. Or were these songs written throughout the period when the Zutons weren't an active concert?
The big decider of the song was I wrote that with Neil, the keyboard player in our band, in 2017. So that was already there, but we never decided. It wasn't like this is going to be the name of the next Zutons album. Do you know what I mean? Or nothing like that. It was just a good song. So from then I've probably wrote what, well over 100, maybe 80 songs. 20 of them are good, and 60 of them are just ideas that don't get finished. So, the lockdown. So I went to rehab. We done a tour with the band of the first record in 2018. Then we went on holiday to LA, and then we stopped doing that. And then it was like, okay, I'm gonna go to rehab. So I went to rehab, came out, and I'd been writing in rehab, and the song "Best of Me," Pauline. Yeah, I wrote them two in rehab. Then it came out. So and then we started writing and recording in the house. We got like a little tiny studio that we just made in the front room. And then lockdown happened. So that was a real pain in the ass, obviously, but it kind of wasn't. At first, it was like, oh, but then we wrote Creeping, we wrote Let's Disappear, and we wrote Water. We wrote pretty much the rest of the record at that point. So that was like a golden period, or the honeymoon period, like for about 6 months into lockdown. And then come the 9th month, I'm just guessing here, this isn't... So come that, it was like, okay, we can't just keep writing and writing. And I was like, why not? And they were like, well, you know, because it just feels like, it's like we wake up in the house, because Sean lived with me, and Abby lived here for a bit as well. So it's like we wake up. It's not like the Beatles Help. That's only an hour and a half long in the movie. It's like, this is reality. And I don't want to just be fucking like... But I was like a bit of a maniac. Going, well, we should have either way. So then we kind of took a back seat for a bit, lived for a bit in through lockdown. And someone gave one of our managers gave Nile Rodgers a fucking 5-song demo. P, can you tell him to stop for a sec? And sorry, my little boy's just jumping up and down. It's fucking...
Yeah.
We give him 5-song demo, and within 48 hours, he came back. He was on a Zoom like this, and he was talking to me, and he was singing, Creeping on the Dance Floor, saying how much he loved it. So he kind of like, yeah, that was how that started. It was really like organic, natural, you know what I mean? So then we went in towards the end and done it and recorded this first bit of the album. And then we came out. I'm just giving you a rough history here, because that's probably the quickest way to do it. But then we came out, and we realised that not all the songs had worked out the way we wanted them to. So long story short, so we got Ian in, went to Rockfield, and then Ian was basically like, you know, he's like an old mate. He's like an uncle figure, father figure, whatever. So he came in and he done it, and we'd done like 2 or 3 songs with him. But then he left the studio set up for us to carry on. So that's kind of when we finished the rest of the record. And then Sean done some bits in his house. Fucking hell, it's a marathon, innit? Fucking hell, but yeah.
No, good work.
No, but it took a while. But we could have just released what we done with Niall, but we weren't happy with it. Like and that's not against Niall, because some of it really worked, some of it's on there, but some of it never. So we had to redo it. So it became a like, it was hard work. It was a bit of a slog at times, but then now I'm glad we've done it, because it's just a nice 9-song. It's a good 9-song, good running order. We wanted to make it a record. Didn't want to just throw singles out, because you can do that now, can't you? You can just throw a few singles out. We wanted to do an album that ran a certain way and felt, you know, like a quest or a journey, like you were going somewhere. You know what I mean? It felt like a record, like you wanted to keep it on.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the song "Best of Me." I really love that song. But also, is it the third song, "Water"?
Yeah.
I really felt like that was a song. I mean, I just think that you just express loads of vulnerability on that song, and it's really hard not to hear it without having an awful lot of I don't know, sort of like connection with what you're singing about. Even though I haven't really spent loads of time on the record, so I don't know exactly what you're singing about. There was definitely something about.
I don't think I do.
Right.
What is it? Is it like a tidal wave, climate change, or is it like it's like I just wrote it in my Mars, and I never thought anything about it. And it's literally just I've got a guitar here, so you know that here's one I prepared earlier, but it was literally just that. So it's just that. So kind of, I don't know, the water thing. I think it's, I don't know, must sound like, you know, when you don't think about something too much and you write it, and then it's like, okay, this is good. But I couldn't, my point is, I couldn't tell you exactly what that song's about. I think it's about everything. But if you're saying if I sound vulnerable, I think I was in a very, I'd woke up in my mum's house. You know, I was really hungover and probably still affected from the night before, but hungover in a way that happened. So that's kind of, I don't like talking about, I think we've spoken about the booze thing loads, but I was in a vulnerable place. And I think that I'm glad that that's come across because no one's said that to me. No one's pointed that out. They see it as this really upbeat song because Sean wrote the chorus. There was Sean wrote the change in it.
Right. I
That's
really
interesting.
I really like the midpoint, the one that Niall does his monologue over, because I like records that have an A side and a B side, and that's obviously sort of smack in the middle. But also, I've done loads of podcasts this year or end of last year, start of this year, after not really speaking to any Scouse musicians in ages. I did Ian, and I spoke to Will Sargent, and I did John Power, and I did Bill Radley Jones the other day. So loads of people from your neck of the woods. And the thing that really kind of has occurred to me is there is this sort of cosmic, there is just this cosmic nature to you people. I don't mean to say that in a sort of like, I mean that in a way like I don't know what's in the Mersey. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. But I just think that song, I'm hugely interested in space and time and reality and existence and stuff. And even though, you know, he kind of turns up and he's obviously, this is Nile Rodgers, and there's something almost sort of, you know, sort of sci-fi about it. I think that's a really good song. Yeah. So thanks.
Yeah. Well, I think nice one. It's funny you should say that. The last guy loved that one as well. But I wrote that out on a piece of paper in the apartment. I started it on my phone and then I wrote it out. And I thought, you know what? Because I thought the end of this song needs something. It needs a narrative, if that's the right word, to go over it. And I went into Nile Rodgers and I said, do you think you could do a spoken word thing over the second half of this song? And we were all like that, like, is he going to do it? And he went, yeah, sure. And he went in and he'd done about 20 takes. And he'd done it all in different styles and everything, but like very much himself. And I was looking at him going, fuck me, that's cool. That's like, you felt like, you know, like Pixar or like Disney, you know, they have the voice actors go in and just nail it.
Yeah.
It was him doing that, but he was just being himself.
Amazing.
And it was just like, how cool, what a cool guy. Like, you know, like if you give the same thing to Snoop Dogg, he'd just go in and do the Snoop Dogg over. It was like he just done this because that Black American accent is so wonderful and so like attractive. I think it is anyway. So that anything that, so we were kind of, it's inspired kind of by Funkadelic, you know, the start of some of their records. It starts with the Mother Earth is pregnant for it was me trying to do my version of that or our version of that, really. Yeah. But it turned out so like, it turned out so, it's just turned out really well. Because when I heard that, I went, it's good, like. But my mate Carl, he's about 60 odd. He lives on the corner, and he said, "What effect have you put on your voice to get that?" He thought it was fucking
amazing.
I was like, I should have stuck with it and wound them up, but I couldn't. Couldn't do it soon.
So you're in a good place. The band's in a good place. You made a really good record.
Yeah.
How?
Thank you.
I mean, you're not going to be 16 years before the next record, are you?
No, I hope. Oh God, I hope not. God, do you know what? If that's the case, then they won't. Do you know what I mean? I'm because there's been so much time between this one and the last one. I've really missed doing it, and I've really missed that thing of putting records out. And I've got tons of songs for the band. I think the band. I've got tons of songs, but I think the band are like, oh God, do you know what I mean? Looking at me because it's like he's ready to go again here, and I'm like, yeah, I am.
Oh,
No, I don't. Yeah, no, it is. It's good, and I think they've missed it. We've just done 22 gigs, really small gigs, intimate gigs, like 400 to 600 people, and they were all chocker. And every night, by the end of the gig, they'd all start a bit. Not all of them. Some of them are just mad from the off. But by the end of the set, everyone would just be like, you know, I don't know if that was the time of going on till the time of when the drinks have been consumed. But it was by the end, everyone was loving it. So it was like we were conquering each fucking valley and each territory. Do you know what I mean? That's what it felt like. So I've missed it. I missed it so much. It was nice.
Dave, thanks so much for giving me some time. I've had a lovely chat.
That's all right, mate. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Fucking. Sorry, not you. The clock.
No, it's fine. I'm going to say for the benefit of listeners that Dave's phone's been going off. You're a man in demand. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, man. And it's so good to see you. It's so good to see you. So good to see you in a good place.
Thanks, James. Hopefully, I can get to speak to you again.
Amazing, man.
As
long as it's not 16 years. Speak to you later. See you, man. Bye.
No, definitely not.